Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Monday, April the 3rd, 2023. Monday, April the 3rd. Well, when we open up the show, still no word about Phyllis, so everybody's still worried, everybody's still frantic, talking about they should have been nicer to her and, just general worry. So we have Chance still trying to get word. Um, at society, Victor's people, who you know what, Victor's people aren't that good, are they? Let's be real. His people still don't have a word. Now, bottom line, it was an accident on the road, and the ambulance caught fire. That would be visible to anybody's private eyes, right? I'm just saying, y'all. Just saying, Victor. So we have Audra and Tucker talking at the bar, and Victor is telling them, I don't like what's going on over there. And so he says, well, Victoria says, well, they're friends. She's keeping an eye on him. And Victor's like, are we sure we know where her alliances are? And Nate is personally vouching for her, right? And Victoria's like, she's okay. See, of course she's okay because Nate's vouching for her. So she goes, she's fine. She's getting information from Tucker, right? Keeping him close. So Nikki goes and makes a call to Summer, still no word. And I went to the doctor, y'all. Got some medicine. So I should be right as rain in a couple days, but still new. I really haven't taken one of them because I haven't eaten. But anyway, so they decide they're gonna, try to head home. And Audra decides she and Tucker are done because Tucker says, you know what, JT used to work for me, and I don't remember that, right? So I would have a much better chance of getting him to do your podcast than you. He goes, I can find him. He goes, but it's gonna cost you. And she says, cost me what? He goes, you'll know when I need it. So she's like, I don't know if some undisclosed, now I'm in your debt to get JT Holstrom, I could find him my own self. He goes, yeah, but he won't talk to you. Audra thinks she's all that and a whole bag of chips, right? And I'm telling you, everybody, I was really looking at her. Maybe it's because they have made her character such a snake in the grass, such a little viper, that she looks ugly to me. You look at Audra and you just look at her deeds and the way she sneaks up behind people. They look close, don't they? They're in sync, aren't they? I just don't even like looking at her whatsoever, right? She's one character that can be leaving the show in the next month, even the next week, and nobody's going to miss Audra. No one. And so Tucker says, I just want you to know, you need to think about this. How well do you like your job? Got it all planned out. She's going to try to plan it so Elena takes the fall if there's fallout, right? But Elena's going to say, no, this was her idea. She says it would make a great ratings, right? So anyway, he says, do you think Victoria wants that part of her past brought up? You think so? How do you think Victor Newman's going to feel about it? JT Holstrom. JT went to jail for trying to kill Victor. So, she goes, I've got it all figured out. He's like, well, okay, whatever. Let me know. Just say the word. Do anything for you. Say the word, girl. Tucker just wants trouble stirred up for the Newmans. And I do too. They need a little unnerving and trouble, but Audra's so expendable. So anyway, then we go to Chance. Chance is interviewing the ambulance driver in the lobby of the GCAC. And I thought, well, Chance, that's interesting. That's an interesting place to interview one of the EMTs that took, now everybody loved Phyllis, away, right? Because he has the somebody in the family could see him and then bum rush him and say, what happened to my mother? Where's my mother? He could just be bombarded with questions. I thought, well, that's an odd place, Chance, right? But you could tell this ambulance guy, EMT, he's on Stark's payroll, right? Because he's the one that saw the ring, made sure he looked at Diane, looked at Jack. They could have even seen him looking at them because he wasn't like trying to sneak a peek. He was like, what are you doing? Like, oh, she took the bait. Good. She took the bait. So Chance is like, I want you to recant what happened. He goes, well, I left my statement with the officers on scene. He goes, I know, but I want you to tell me. Start from the beginning. And he says they got Phyllis into, en route to the hospital. But what was interesting, who was it that said, was it Diane? Because I think it was Diane that said, wait, why was the ambulance on route whatever? I'm going to say route Z. When the hospital, they would have been on route A, right? Why were they there versus here? See, there's going to be a whole bunch of funny things not tied up because, like I said, Stark's plan is not that good, right? But one thing we can see where they're going with the plan today. We were able to see that, right? And so he says, so we got in there. He goes, and the patient woke up. And he goes, oh, so she came too. He goes, yes, she was out of it. But she kept saying over and over again to me, poison. Excuse me, poison, poison. And Chance says, and did you take a tox screen? Did you? He goes, yes, I drew blood. He says, but then the ambulance swerved. I don't know. It must have been a deer. Must have been some animal. And I'm thinking, well, okay, I'm going to automatically say it must have been a deer, must have been an animal, versus I don't know why the driver swerved, right? But it was that deer I didn't see, or that animal I didn't see, because the driver yelled, animal, I don't know, right? And he says, and then the vehicle went off the embankment, and he said, and it opened, because he said he had drawn the blood, right? Which is interesting. He'd drawn the blood, which is going to be tainted with some kind of poison. But now the ambulance went off the embankment. He was thrown out the back door. Phyllis was strapped to the gurney. So I'm taking it the gurney was strapped to the vehicle because I guess they don't want the gurneys going back and forth in an ambulance. Maybe they are kind of tethered or locked in. I don't know. I'm not EMT because I would have thought the gurney would have flew out too, but I guess they do have them restrained, right? Otherwise, you turn a corner and the gurneys are going like this, right? So, okay, yeah, they would have it tightened down. And he says, and then when he gathered himself, because he goes, so you weren't wearing a seatbelt? He goes, no, I'm administering to the patient. And he goes, but she was strapped. He goes, yes, she was strapped in. And he said, I think at the chest and the mid and the legs. He goes, it was we always strap the patients in so that they're secure. And Chance is like, okay. He goes, now was Young, I guess Young is the name of the driver, was Young wearing a seatbelt? And the driver, and so he goes, yes. And he goes, how do you know he was wearing a seatbelt? You were in the back. And he looked and he thought, oh, He says, well, because when I got up from the ground, I went to see if I could get Young out the vehicle because the vehicle started catching fire or had caught fire. And I'm thinking, So much for the helpless patient on the gurney. You thought you would have tried to unhook that gurney, get the patient out, right? But I guess you know what? If Young wasn't seriously hurt, the driver, you would go and help the driver so the driver could help you help the patient. I don't know, right? Yeah, whatever procedure is on that. But he said, but the flames started coming up too fast and I could not unhook him. So he was wearing a seatbelt. And in my mind, I'm thinking, it's standard procedures that the EMTs wear their safety belt. Okay. Hello. So, and he goes, so, Chance writing down, I'm going to have to ask about that. And then he goes, and then you mentioned something about a ring. And he goes, yes. The patient or Miss Summers or whatever you call Phyllis, there was a ring she had in her hand, which we still don't know how that ring get there. I'd like to know that. And he goes, and Miss Jenkins took the ring out of her hand and stepped back. And he goes, so do you think the ring was hers? And so he goes, well, I don't know, but she showed it to Mr. Abbott. And I thought, I think you're tipping your hand a bit because you're an EMT. You're not a friend of the family. How the heck do you know Diane's name? And how the heck do you know Jack Abbott? He had a lot of information to me that an EMT just wouldn't have. He would have said the lady in a silver dress, she was standing with a man in a white tux, black pants. Those two. You wouldn't say Diane Jenkins, born April 7th, 1969, and Jack Abbott, born March the 4th, 1960. Those two, yeah. You might as well go all out with the information. Okay. So anyway, Jack says thank you. And not Jack. Chance says, all right, but Chance ain't stupid. I think Chance is gonna find a bunch of holes in that guy's statement. So then Chance gets a phone call, and he then, after his phone call, he goes down because the whole episode pretty much is everybody saying, "Where's my mother?" and Stark being Stark, who interesting. My love, Phyllis, my love, Stark never left. All he kept doing is texting, and the whole thing, people say, who you been texting all night? Because it's not my mother, your love, your love. Who Stark been texting? That's what was, hopefully Chance is looking at security footage just to take a look at Stark, right? Because that was all suspicious. So Chance comes down the stairs, and Chance says, I have news. There was an accident. Phyllis's ambulance swerved off the road, went off an embankment, and it caught fire. And everybody's like, huh? I'm sorry to tell you, she didn't make it. And Summer starts to fall to the ground, and Kyle catches her, and Nick comes over to touch a hand on her arm. I mean, Kyle is trying to hold her up, but Nick, to me, I'm surprised he didn't get closer in. Baby girl, oh my God, because this should have affected Nick too. He loved Phyllis for years, right? Jack was tore up, like, huh? And Diane's like, huh? They're all in shock, right? And Daniel, see, thank goodness Danny was there, because Daniel had a parent. Summer had her dad, Daniel had his dad. That was good. I was happy they had him have Danny for support, right? So Danny's just patting him, hugging him, like, oh no. And even Sharon had empathy. She's looking like, oh no, because she just lost Ray in accident. And Sharon, she does not want to see or hear of anybody else dying, right? Now, Stark was in the room when that message was given. All that man is doing is just standing there looking like, okay, it's going according to plan. Uh-huh. Yep, the news has just been delivered. No, wait a minute. What? How could this how see no see before it's where's that where's my wife where's this the news that she's dead, not a peep out of this man. So we'll see what he does tomorrow. But now I see how they're going to do it. The ambulance caught fire. Now what they're going to do, put a dead body in there, because there's going to have to be some human remains in there. And that can be DNA tested, folks. But what will they leave of Phyllis's in there? She's not going to cut off a finger. That's some kind of stuff that Sheila Carter would do. And she let's not talk about the Bold and Beautiful. But anyway, so there's great comment. No, not great comment. Somebody did say it wasn't Comment Corner. Maybe it was another comment or an email to me. And Ditos, I did get your email. Yeah, I want you to start posting your comments, Ditos, so everybody else can hear them. Ditos likes to look ahead, but she doesn't spoil it for me. She just says, "Ooh, you're gonna want to see Monday. Oh goodness, Tuesday is gonna." She'll do that. She hold on. I'm gonna have to cough now, folks. I started laughing. See, I gotta keep my voice on an even keel. I can't start laughing. It can't be too funny, because then I'm coughing out of control. So anyway, we can kind of see the way they're setting this up. People burned. Although, was the other driver collateral damage? That's shocking. I mean, some real folks or bodies are going to have been placed in that vehicle, right? I don't know. Seems like there could be a crime there, because we know it ain't Phyllis. So who is it going to be the body that they found, right? You do better saying it went completely off a ravine to the ground and blew up, right? That would have done better. So anyway, we could tell Stark is going to take possession of the body, which is why he probably had to make sure they were married. So he had a right, even though Daniel tore up who carries a marriage license in their pocket like that? Every time Stark wanted to tell somebody, he's pulling them like, you ain't married to her. I'm like, who does that? So Daniel, you show this one more time. Daniel ripped it up. And I said, good, Daniel, because why do you have a marriage license there, Stark? Period. And it looked like an original. Well, your original is gone. So anyway, you better have ordered multiple copies. So he's probably going to claim the body, allegedly, and have her cremated, because this way nobody will be able to identify her. And all he's going to do is have ashes of Phyllis. This is my love, Phyllis. This is what's left of Phyllis. Yeah, we'll see how that's going to go. But what I don't get, everybody, even if they try to go the poison route, how was Diane supposed to have had time to poison Phyllis? Jack, Kyle, and Summer got up to the room when they had the altercation, and she's choking Phyllis. They didn't see 2 glasses of water, because this is still supposed to be Phyllis's room. Diane would have had to have gone to this gala with poison in her purse. Okay. And if it's going to have something to do with poison on the ring, Jack's going to say the ring was in my pocket and I was pickpocketed. I don't know how it ended up with Phyllis unless Stark picked my pocket and gave it to her. There's just too many messy loopholes with the way that they're doing this. But I guess they're doing it so that it's circumstantial enough to point the finger at Diane. Because remember, when Diane did her exit, they had almost half the town was suspect in her murder, until it finally pointed out that Nikki had the most, most evidence pointed to her, and she just got off. Diane didn't care. Nikki could still be in jail. So you know what? Turnabout's fair play, Diane. Now you know how that's going to feel. Seriously. So anyway, that was it today for The Young and the Restless. Let's go to Comment Corner. Comment Corner. M. Miles says, I don't like Devon and Abby together. JMO. JMO. Okay, Patricia says, I love Trevor St. John as Tucker. Looking forward to more scenes with Kyle and Audra. Wasn't that weird? You can tell they're getting ready to make those two bump into each other, and something's going to come of that. Because just the way he was looking at her and smiled at her. Yeah, he's introducing Summer, but he sure was. Ooh, how'd I miss you, hot girl, hot girl. I like the dark-haired girls. Remember Lola? He's sure smiling. And she was, Kyle Abbott, have your phone. Yeah, I think they're getting ready to try to do something with that. And Patricia said, bad boy Kyle is more interested in family man Kyle. I also think James Hyde as Jeremy Stark is very exciting and looks forward to seeing JT again. Adam, Chance, Nate, and Tucker keep me watching even during the slow-paced episodes. Libby says, MS. Wait a minute here. Excuse me, folks. I was trying to find my little pause button and couldn't find it in time. Sneezing. Sorry about that, everybody, but I'm not going to edit that out. Sneezes happen. So anyway, don't laugh, Sheila. Oh my God. Okay, now where am I at? Let's see. Even the episodes are slow. P.S. Melissa Claire Egan, Chelsea is pregnant in real life. IRL. Thank you. In real life. At least you put that, because I'm like, IRL? What is that? But you put it, thank you. Thank you so much, Libby. M. Miles, JMO. Okay. So anyway, in real life, that's why she's hiding behind purses, tables, etc. Sally looks skinny as ever. I know Sally doesn't look like she is now getting ready to end her first trimester. She's been pregnant since December and ain't really showing a peep. But guess what? When they finally do, that baby belly gonna be way out there. She's gonna be due next month, right? LaCentra says, Audra really gets on my nerves. Vicky knows what she's doing. I'm surprised she's putting up with it. Yeah, she knows the kind of person Audra is. And she don't even like her. The only reason why she has her still there is Nate hired her. And then let's see. M. Miles says, can't stand Audra. So you're agreeing with LaShunta. Anita says, your Nate script is very accurate. But of course, Nate is not going to say anything to Victoria. And Jeremy's scheme is not logical. No, it is not. I hope Devon finally decides to buy McCall Unlimited. I really do. They're letting that go too long. Devon, make a choice. Libby says, I hope Devon buys McCall Unlimited and gives Adam a job to run it. Devon gets along well with Victor. They seem to have respect for one another, and Devon would be open to the idea Victor suggested it. I know he can't run them both. The best part would be that Adam wouldn't be under his father's thumb. But see, Victor wouldn't like that. Victor's got to have everybody under his thumb so he could look at you and say, you're fired. You're fired. He's got to be able to fire everybody, right? And M. Miles says, I agree about the Jeremy crap. I hope Devon buys from his father as well. Don't let the Newmans get it, especially Victoria. Can't stand her. Me either. And then Miles says, replying to Libby, but then Adam will be accused of being disloyal to his dad again. And then Libby's answering to M. Miles, not if Victor approaches Devon about hiring him. Yolanda says, Diane's going near Phyllis and getting the ring. That will show in the video, and they can say she poisoned Phyllis. Yeah, but we were going to have to see. Now, that ring is going to have poison on it, and I could swear Diane put the ring on, right? They didn't find the ring nestled in Phyllis's mouth, right? If it had poison on it, then Diane taking the ring and putting it on her finger, or even taking the ring. Diane will be poisoned herself. So it's half-baked, 100% half-baked. And let's see how they tie it together. Because Diane does live at the Abbott house now. Does she even still have her room at the GC? I thought she cleared that out when she moved in with Jack. I think she did. So anyway, everybody, that is it for The Young and the Restless. I will be back tomorrow feeling better because the doctor knew the dose. Yeah, it's cough medicine and antibiotics, got a little respiratory thing going on. So that's going to all clear up. Like some inhalers, walked out of there with 4 different prescriptions. But anyway, sometimes you just need a little help. But I will be back tomorrow with another daily recap of The Young and the Restless.